What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some shocking news. Shocking reveal. Shocking. The boxing world has just been shooken up as former unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, who was top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., who is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9" and a half with a 72-inch arm reach. He suffered the first setback and loss of his career, July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, when he took on now undefeated 3-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, and the reigning undisputed #1 pound for pound best fighter in the world in Terence "Bud" Crawford. Terence Crawford is 40 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 36 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Errol Spence got dominated in that fight. And many people, they said, Errol Spence, he didn't look the same. He looked like a shell of himself. And Errol Spence has just given an update as to why he looked like a shell of himself. Now, there was many different rhymes and reasons. Errol Spence was, it was told that Errol Spence had a broken rib. It was said that Errol Spence was weight drained. It was, many things were said. Errol Spence ran the mountain the week of the fight, which he did, July 25th, 4 days before the fight, right? But now Errol Spence got dominated in a fight that was highly anticipated, the biggest highly anticipated showdown in the last decade. It was, on paper, seen to be the most 50-50 fight if there ever were one. And it didn't turn out that way. The fight itself, the event itself, was huge. It was exciting. It lived up to the billing. But the fight wasn't competitive. Errol Spence got dominated. Errol Spence won the first round, in my opinion, and he won the first half of the third round. He got dropped in the second round. He got dropped twice in the 7th round. Then he got stopped in the 9th round. But he got battered in the 3rd round, the second half of the 3rd round. He got battered in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, and in the 8th round. And many people thought it should have been stopped in the 6th, 7th, and 8th round, right? Well, Errol Spence has now given an update. Errol Spence had this to say. He took to his social media. Now, I told everybody last week, Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., last week, he came back and he says, now I'm back on social media, right? I'm back on social media and I'm back, in the swing of things. That's what Errol Spence had to say. He said, I'm back on social media and I'm back in the swing of things, right? And now a video has surfaced of Errol Spence. As it didn't surface, he made sure it popped up, as this is what happened with Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. And he showed this video of him having surgery once again. Now you see Errol Spence there. He's in the wheelchair. He's coming out of a hospital. He just posted this 15 minutes ago. Him coming out the hospital, right? As you can see. And he has his eye is covered. Then he posts this, as you can see. And right here at the bottom, you can see what he says at the bottom right there. I'll read it to you guys. He says, this is what he had to say. Why do you think I got hit with so many jabs and hooks? Still a great performance by bro. Had to get cataract surgery. It's been past due. This was covering my eye. This is what he said, right? So you can see what he said, right? So Errol Spence is saying that, he got hit with so many jabs and so many hooks because he simply could not see the jabs and the hooks, right? And so he's saying that, the performance by Terence "Bud" Crawford was a great performance by Terence "Bud" Crawford, undoubtedly, is what Errol Spence is saying. But in the same token, he's saying that he couldn't see the punches from Terence "Bud" Crawford. Now, we know, okay, Errol Spence was supposed to face off against legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer, Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao, okay? August 21st, July 2021. okay? And the fight didn't come to fruition. People, why didn't that fight come to fruition? Because Errol Spence suffered a broken nor detached retina, right? And I told many people at that point in time, many people said, well, Errol Spence faked the eye injury. And we saw he didn't fake the eye injury. That was a marquee legacy fight for Errol Spence. August 21, 2021, right? And he suffered a broken or detached retina, okay? He had to have it repaired. He was out the ring for a year, okay? He came back. He fought against Cuban star, then world champion, Yordenis Ugas. Why? Because Yordenis Ugas dominated. He replaced Errol Spence in the Manny Pacquiao fight. And Yordenis Ugas absolutely dominated Manny Pacquiao. Okay? And then Errol Spence came back a year later, out the ring a year. He came back and he dominated and stopped Yordenis Ugas in the unification. Broke his ribs, nose, and orbital bone. Okay? And won the title, the WBA title, which made him, in the past, would have made him officially the undisputed champion. The WBO, World Boxing Organization title, came in last. And that's the belt that Terence Bud Crawford had. Okay, so in that fight against Yordenis Ugas, he was getting tagged in that fight, right? But this is nothing new. As you look at Errol Spence's past performance, he got tagged against Kell Brook. He got tagged against Sean Porter. He got tagged in many fights prior to that, okay? But with that said, okay, Errol Spence definitely looked like something was up the night of the Terence Crawford fight. Now, I'm going to say this. He had corrective surgery. We don't know if that was a lingering effect. Now, after the Terence Crawford, Sean Porter fight, he suffered that horrific car accident. We don't know what effect that had on his body and his eyes. His eyes were swollen from that. And then that could have been a lingering effect, the detached or broken retina. Many people said that he was faking it and just pulling out the Manny Pacquiao fight because he was getting tagged in sparring. Well, he might have been getting tagged in sparring for the Manny Pacquiao fight because he couldn't see. Okay? So I'm going to say that he suffered this broken or detached retina. He wouldn't have pulled out the Manny Pacquiao fight. And this is what it's seeming like for this fight. I'm making an assumption here, is that maybe he had the same issues going on like he did going into the Manny Pacquiao fight, but he understood the risk he didn't want to pull out of the Manny Pacquiao fight. The Terence Crawford fight. So he followed through with the Terence Crawford fight, right? Because he didn't want to run the risk the same thing happened with the Manny Pacquiao fight. And he followed through, and this was the end results. Now I'm going to say this, right? It's completely unfair to Terence Crawford that all of these different scenarios and situations are coming out. Because it completely, although he's stating that Terence Crawford had a great performance, but by him saying that why he got hit with so many jabs and hooks against Terence Crawford is because he simply couldn't see. Now, after the fight was over, Errol Spence said he can make up an excuse, but he's not going to make up an excuse. He's just going to roll with the punches. But now this is an excuse that came out, and it's discrediting Terence Crawford's performance. And now it just put pressure on Errol Spence. He just added pressure to himself going into this immediate rematch against Terence Crawford. He put an immense amount of pressure on himself now going into this rematch with Terence Bud Crawford. Because now you have told the world this was the reasoning. You told the boxing world the reasoning that you just lost to Terence Bud Crawford was because you couldn't see. And you made a direct correlation to getting hit with the jabs and the hooks because you couldn't see those punches coming. So now in this immediate rematch with the corrective surgery, right? Hopefully there's an immediate rematch because we don't even know how long he's going to be out. But when they do fight in a rematch, because you best believe at this point in time, one of two things is going to happen. If Errol Spence can't rematch Terence Crawford in March, which I don't think he will be able to, but cataract surgery, when you have cataract surgery, the time frame of being out and recovery is not as long as obviously having surgery to repair a broken or detached retina, right? So now you put pressure on yourself, right? Because now you're going to have to prove in the rematch now that it was the eye. Okay, it was the eye. So it takes about 8 weeks. The full recovery period for cataract surgery typically lasts around 8 weeks. Okay, so it's about 8 weeks that he needs to recover. So that's 2 months. So which means they were scheduling this fight to take place in like March or April. He's going to need 2 months of training camp as well. So now the fight has been, essentially pushed back to around May. Okay, but again, now you're going to have to show and prove that it was simply the eyes that was the rhyme and reason. You have just made a solid reasoning as to why you could not perform up to the standards that it was expected and why you got hit with the hooks and the jabs so much. Now you can't get hit with those hooks and jabs when you have this corrective surgery moving forward. It just made the rematch that much more interesting, and I can't wait to see it. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.